ঠিক আছে। আচ্ছা ফুল স্ক্রিন করবো কি করে একটু বলো। এটা আমি এই দিলাম ওটা না ওটা ওপেন করুন। এই বাপি 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 এক সেকেন্ড এখন ঠিক হয়েছে ব্লার্ড হয়েছিল
স্যার অটো ফোকাস আছে।
হ্যাঁ
অটো ফোকাস আছে যেটাকে ফোকাস হয়ে যাবে।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে। So let us start today's lecture. And in the previous lecture, we had calculated, we had obtained an expression for the generating functional in the presence of a source, of an external source for a quantum harmonic oscillator. And the expression for that the following. E power minus I by h bar m integral dt prime minus infinity to plus infinity dt so this was the expression, okay, for the generating functional in the presence of an external source J for a quantum harmonic oscillator. And what we had seen was that if you calculate the expectation value of Q hat T, and this you can basically, this is minus IH bar I Z0 delta Z J by JT evaluated as J is equal to 0. So if you calculate this, the last lecture we had calculated this, and this was equal to 0. Okay. And now today what we shall do is we shall compute the two-point function, which is basically the time-ordered product of Q hat P1, Q hat P2. So we shall calculate this, and this we shall calculate from the expression minus I h bar square by Zj del 2 Zj del Jt1 Jt2. evaluate at this j is equal to 0. So this is the 2-point function by definition. Or the 2-point function is the time order product like this. And we have seen that you can get this 2-point function by functionally differentiating the generating function of z of j twice with respect to the external source, and at the end of the then you divide it by zj, multiply it by a factor, and then at the end of the calculation take j is equal to 0. So let us do this calculation and see what happens. So in order to calculate two functional derivatives, I hope you can see this side is visible. So let us first calculate del zj del j of p1, and this is your expression. You have to functionally differentiate this expression with respect to the source, external source. So this will give us z of 0. Then it will be basically del j p1 of e to the power of so you have this full expression. This thing is there. I'm not writing it anymore. So that will be equal to z of this. And then when you functionally differentiate, what will happen is we will get back the exponential factor. The exponential factor will be there. And then we will have this multiplied by minus I to h bar m del j p1 of this integral. So this integral basically consists of dt prime j p gf p minus p prime j prime. So this is what we shall have. Okay. I hope this is visible. You can see everything. So this is equal to z0, and now we'll have this is exponential of whatever we have here. So that factor is there, and now del j t1 is functional derivative with respect to the source j. This will act on this and give us a term, and this will also act on this term and give us a term. And both, when this acts on this will give you a delta. This will give a delta function. When this acts on this will also give us a delta function. So both these contributions will basically add up. You can perform the delta function integrations, and both you can check that both the contributions will add up. So it will give a factor of 2. So what will happen is, after you do the calculation, you get minus I, this 2 and the contribution from this 2 will cancel, and therefore you will have minus I h bar n, and there will be a delta function here. And when you perform the delta function, 1j will remain. So what will happen is, suppose I take this case when this acts on this thing, so this will give a delta t minus t1. So delta t minus t1 will perform the integration over t. So all this t will get replaced by t1, and there will be an integral over t prime. We will have dt prime j t1 gf. Okay. So this will give us gf t1 minus t prime j t prime. And similarly, you can see, you can easily check that when this acts on this term, this will give us a delta t prime minus t1. So then you can perform this t prime integral and the t integral will remain. But this t and t prime are basically dummy, therefore both the contributions will add up and give us a factor of 2. So this is what we have at the end. And now you can easily see that if you evaluate this at j is equal to 0, after the end of the calculation, if you evaluate this at j is equal to 0, then this factor becomes 1 because this contains j's and j is 0. Therefore, this is e to the power of 0, this is 1. And this is an ordinary integral which is multiplied by this factor, and here there is a j. And when you set j to 0, so this entire contribution becomes equal to 0. Okay? Therefore, the 1-point function, this expectation value is 0. But now we want to calculate the 2-point function. Therefore, we cannot set, at this point we cannot set j is equal to 0. We have to keep it. And we have to again differentiate this expression. So let us do that. If I differentiate zj with respect to j at t2 now, then we shall have, and remember that at the end of the calculation we have to set j is equal to 0. So now let us look at this term. I am differentiating this term with respect to j t2 now. So this will, by the Leibniz rule, this will give us 2 terms. Once j t2 will act on this term, and this will remain untouched. Plus j t2 will act on this term, and this will remain untouched. So there are 2 terms that are there. Let us concentrate on the first term. The first term, j t2, the differentiation, functional differentiation acts on this term, and this remains untouched. So at the end of the calculation, you have to set j is equal to 0. But j is equal to 0 means this term, this first term is gone, because here there is a jc2. You set j to 0, so the first term is 0. So the contribution where jt2 acts on this term is 0 when j is set equal to 0. So the only contribution which survives after taking j is equal to 0 is the one where the functional derivative acts on this term. So when the functional derivative acts on that term, what we get is z0. We will have exponential, this thing is always there, to h bar m integral, and then we have a minus I by h bar m. And this is a straightforward functional differentiation. It will just give us the value gf t1 minus t2. It's quite simple because this will give a delta function, delta t prime minus t2, and then perform the t prime integral, and that will give us gf t1 minus t2. So this is the entire result, but not the entire result. There is an extra term, but you evaluate it at j is equal to 0. So when you evaluate this at j is equal to 0, the other term is 0, and this term will be 1. You will not have this term anymore. Okay? So our final result is this. And now you divide this by zj. Evaluate at j is equal to 0 means z0. So zj becomes z0. and then you multiply this by minus I h bar whole square. So that gives us a minus I h bar whole square, and therefore this is equal to, so minus I, this becomes minus, and this minus becomes plus. So I h bar, you have h bar square, h bar, so I h bar by m gf t1 minus t. So this is the result that get after doing this calculation, and therefore this expression, this is equal to basically this, because this is by definition this equal to this, and this is equal to this, therefore this is equal to this. Okay. So what we find is that the expectation value or the 2-point correlation function, the expectation value of the time ordered product of two operators, Q hat at T1 and Q hat at T2, is basically nothing but it is proportional to the Green's function of the theory. It is proportional to the Feynman-Green's function. So that is a very important result. It's a very nice result. And now, what you can do, I leave it as an exercise for you to do, because, and you should do it. This is an extremely interesting problem, and you should check what you get after doing the calculation. I've given you the expression for the generating functional in the presence of the source. You know that expression. I have calculated the 1-point function for you, which is 0, and also the 2-point function for you, which is a 2-point function, which is equal to nothing but I h bar by m times the Green's function of the theory, the Feynman-Green's function. Now the exercise that I want to give you is the following. You check what is the 3-point function, what are the odd point functions, like 3-point function, 5-point function, etc. And also calculate the 4-point function, and if possible the 6-point function, and check what you get. So this is the assignment that I give you, that I leave for you to do at home. Okay. So I repeat the problem once more. Calculate the odd point functions. So you calculate 3 and 5 and see what you get. And you also calculate the 4-point function, the even point functions. I have done it, the 2-point function I have done it. So calculate the 4-point function, and also if possible, you please check the 6-point function and see what you get. Okay. So the 2-point time ordered vacuum correlation function is the Feynman-Green's function. This point is basically a general feature for all quantum theories. That is, the 2-point connected vacuum Green's function is nothing other than the Feynman propagator of the theory. There is a word that I have used, connected. It may not be clear to you right now, but as we move on, as you take further courses also, it will be clear later on. So I hope you have understood the problem that I have given you. So please try to do the problem. Okay. You have, yes.
Sir, the odd number function, they will come out to be 0, right?
Yes, it should come out to be 0, right? Because the 1-point function is 0, the 3-point function, 5-point function, and all the odd point functions should come out to be 0. You are correct. But please check it for the 3-point function. There is nothing to check actually, but just write it up. Just write one step and convince yourself that it is indeed 0. All the odd point functions will be 0, but the 4-point function, please calculate it. You have to calculate. The even point functions will not be 0. All the even point functions will survive. And see what it is. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So if the problem is clear, then let us proceed from here. So remember that the generating functional, the theory for which we are writing down the generating functional is a quantum harmonic oscillator. It is a free quantum harmonic oscillator. So there are no interactions there. So now let me write a theory where there is an interaction. So let us look at the enharmonic oscillator. So in any theory, if I give you a theory, you should try and write down the generating functional of that theory. And once you have the generating functional of the theory in the presence of an external source, you can start functionally differentiating the generating functional with respect to the source and obtain all the endpoint functions, all the Green's functions of the theory. And the Green's functions, you realize by now that the Green's functions of a theory are, for a particular theory, is very important, because this Green's function is basically nothing but the propagator that I've been talking about so far in this course. So in any theory, first thing that you should try to calculate is what is the propagator, or what is, so a propagator has 2 points, so it is called a 2-point function. It is taking you from one point to another point, from one space-time point to another space-time point, and therefore it is a 2-point function. So a propagator of the theory is a very important object in all quantum theories. And if I give you a theory, what you should first look for in that theory is what is the propagator of the theory. And I've given you a recipe to calculate this propagator of the theory. Okay? At least for a free theory, I have shown you how to calculate it. But now let us take a theory. Suppose I write down. Once again, I consider a one-dimensional quantum harmonic oscillator. So there is only one degree of freedom, and there is obviously one time direction. So the Lagrangian of this quantum harmonic oscillator is this. And then I tell you that I put in factor, an harmonicity factor. So this, when I put this term in the Lagrangian, so you can understand that this is an anharmonic term that I introduced in the Lagrangian of the quantum harmonic oscillator, and we want to write down. Our aim is to compute the various endpoint functions. This is our primary aim. So in order to compute the various endpoint functions, what we need to do is to write down the generating functional of the theory. So we know the prescription for that. The prescription for that is, so when I have the Lagrangian, then you can immediately write down an action which is a functional of Q, T, and I put in a source, because I need the generating functional in the presence of the source, so that I can start functionally differentiating it with respect to the external source to get the various endpoint functions. So this is my action, QJT, and I call this action S tilde, say. And what is this? This thing is basically minus infinity T plus infinity dt half n dot square minus half this is the anharmonicity term. You may ask, why did I put a factor of 4 factorial there instead of a factor of 4 or 2 or whatever? This is a combinatorial factor. It turns out to be very nice when you calculate the various endpoint functions. This provides a cancelling. This 4 factorial means 24. This gives a nice factor which cancels various numerical factors. So for that it has been, you can put 4 also here, that is not a problem, but usually people put 4 factorial. So there is no very deep reason in setting this factor to 4 factorial, but it is a combinatorial factor which helps in cancelling various numerical factors.
Sir,
Yes.
why we are not including any term like Q cube?
Okay, you can. This is a good question. You can include q cube and q to the power of 6, whatever. But see, one of the you can definitely introduce that. That is not a problem. But in fact, when you deal with classical anharmonic oscillators, you people actually put q cube and things like that. But here also you can do it. You can put q cube. That is not a problem. But the reason we have put q to the power of 4 is the following: that if you calculate this, the Hamiltonian from here, the Hamiltonian will be what? P square by 2m plus this factor plus this half m omega square q square. So that is the usual non-interacting quantum harmonic oscillator, the Hamiltonian for the non-interacting part, 12 by 2m plus half m omega square q square, plus the sign will change. So here, you remember that lambda is greater than 0. I forgot to mention this. So just remember, keep in your mind that lambda is greater than 0. So in that, when you make the Legendre transform, the Hamiltonian will become plus lambda by 4 factorial q to the power of 4. So this will become a plus. Now, if you make q go to q, make a transformation so that q goes to minus q. So what will happen there? The Hamiltonian will still remain positive, definitely, which is important for quantum theories, because for quantum theory you need to have a stable ground state. The ground state energy, you are sure that the minimum energies, the ground state corresponds to the state of minimum energy. That will be 0 here when you make a transformation from q to minus q. But if you put in a q cube term, then what will happen is that this quantum harmonic oscillator will not have a stable ground state energy. Will not have a minimum ground state energy, because it can go down and down. So what is a minimum? You don't know what it is. So in order to avoid that complexity, that problem, you put in a q4 term. But in principle, you are right. You can put q cube and whatever. So when we do field theory, the analogous thing there would be this q will be replaced by the field phi, which is a function of the space-time coordinates, function of x and t. So q gets replaced by phi. So you have a phi square here. In the Hamiltonian, you will have a pi square. So here it will be p. In the quantum mechanical scenario, in the field theory, there it will be pi, which is the canonically conjugate field momentum to the field phi. And here you can put an interaction. People usually put lambda phi fourth. We call it lambda phi fourth theory. So this is phi to the power of 4. But you can have phi cube theory also. So that is not a problem. People look at phi cube theories. But again, there is that particular problem which I just now discussed. So it is usual to put in a phi to the power of 4 interaction or q to the power of 4 interaction. Okay. So we have this. So this is this part. And since it is in the presence of a source, therefore I put this. I would like to remind you at this point, because we are heading towards writing down the generating functional. This is our aim. I would like to remind you that when whatever we are writing over here, this is a quantum harmonic oscillator. So you have, please keep in mind that this is not classical mechanics that we are doing. This is quantum harmonic oscillator that we are doing. But everything here are numbers. They are not operators. We shall take this and put it into the generating function. So we have this thing, and therefore this part I can now write it down as integral minus infinity to plus infinity dt minus lambda by 4 factorial So I just separate this term, just partition this term out, and then I write the rest of the thing as S dt jp. Okay. So what is SQPJT? This is the action that we have been working for the non-interacting quantum harmonic oscillator. SQPJT is basically this term, and this term, without this term. So this is the part with which we have worked so far, which we are confident about. So now let us write down the generating functional. The generating functional in the presence of the source J, that will be apart from some normalization. So I write it down as Z0. So that is now integral d to t into e to the power of I by h bar. So this is the path integral measure, this is the functional measure, and then we have the ordinary integral on top, and so this factor is, I don't need to write it down because I have written down the expressions explicitly. This is S tilde J, where S tilde contains this term and S is without this term. So this is the generating functional of this quantum anharmonic oscillator. Okay. And now you can write this down as Z0 integral dqt e to the power of, I have partitioned S tilde in this way, therefore I have minus I by h bar lambda 4 factorial h bar integral e to the power of 4 t dt into e to the power of I by h bar s t. Okay. Now, please note from this expression that if I functionally differentiate S Qj, S Qj is this part, this term, and this term with respect to J. If I do that, so this term and this term will give no contribution because this does not contain any J. Only contribution will come from this term, right? If you functionally differentiate it with respect to J over here. So this will give us Qt. So functionally differentiating SQJ with respect to the external source J at time t will give us Qt from this expression. Straight away you can, this is just straightforward, and therefore you see that here there is a term q to the power of 4 that is hanging around, right? Therefore what I can write, I can write this expression in the following form. This is dqt to the power of minus I lambda h bar. And remember, whatever we are doing now, this is a nice practice for you when you take up the course on quantum field theory. So I hope that some of you will take up the course on quantum field theory, And whatever we are doing now here, everything will go through there also. So this we can write it down as okay. And then acting on e to the power of I by h bar is ut. So I will explain what I have written now. You see that I have replaced q to the power of 4 by this factor, because each q over here can be obtained by functionally differentiating this thing with respect to j. So when you functionally differentiate this thing with respect to j, you will have a e to the power of, so this is already on top. So what you will have is, you want q to the power of 4 here. So when you functionally differentiate, you will get a factor of I by h bar times q, right? But I by h bar, you need to cancel it. You need to get rid of this factor I by h bar. So that is why you have put in a factor of minus I h bar. So that will kill this factor of I by h bar that you get after functionally differentiating this with respect to j. So we will have only q over here and to the power of 4. Hence, so what it basically means is that you can replace, due to this identity, this is due to this thing, you can replace qt by a functional differentiation with respect to jt. That is what it means, and that is what we have done. But we have put in a factor of minus I h bar because of this factor. You want to kill this factor that will come along with q, and that kills this factor. This factor will kill this factor, and you will have only q to the power of 4 sitting here. But now something very important has happened in this way of writing. Huge simplification has taken place. You can already see that the simplification is the following. See, in this step, q was there, q was present here, and there was a functional integral over q. But now this q has been replaced by a functional differentiation over j, right? So this term, this no longer has any q. So this factor, this functional, so this is basically an operator that you have, a differential operator, a functional differential operator, because it acts on something and takes a functional derivative. Okay, so this is a functional differential operator, and this is independent of q. So you can take this thing outside the integral, and therefore you can write zj as z0, and this will be e to the power of minus I lambda by 4 factorial h bar So this full factor can be taken outside, and this acts on dqt e to the power of I by h bar s. So this is what we have. But this thing we have already calculated. We know what is the expression for this. This is for the non-interacting harmonic oscillator, and we know the expression for that. So this is basically Z0 e to the power of minus I lambda by 4 factorial this. This, and this expression we already know, and it is e to the power of, let me just see the expression. The expression for this is e to the power of minus I by 2h bar m integral dt dt prime j g j. This is a shorthand notation for j t gf t minus t prime, so now let me write down f j t gf t minus t prime j t prime. Okay. Therefore, the generating functional for the enharmonic oscillator is basically nothing but this operator acting on the generating functional for the free theory. So you know the free theory result. The free theory result is this that we have already derived. And now, once you have the free theory result, you keep on taking functional derivative with respect to the external source J, and you will get, and that will give you the generating function. So this will not give us the endpoint functions. This is the full generating function of the theory of the enharmonic oscillator. So you have this part, and you have this thing, and you keep on taking functional derivatives because you have a functional derivative. This acts on this, and you will get the full generating function of the theory. And this is what is known as perturbation theory, because you cannot calculate this exactly, right? What you can do at most is that if this lambda is the coupling constant, this enharmonicity coupling, right? So this is some sort of a state kind of thing. You assume that this lambda is small so that you can do perturbation theory. So what you do is you expand this exponential and keep terms up to first order in lambda or second order in lambda and so on. So this will be a power series kind of thing in lambda. So you can expand this and keep some certain terms up to first order lambda, second order lambda, and take those functional and then compute this full thing, and that will give you a generating functional up to that order in lambda, to the order to which you keep the expression. Okay? So this will be the generating functional up to that order in lambda. So once you have generating functional, now you functionally differentiate and you will get the endpoint functions. Yes, please.
Sir, before starting this derivation, you told us that q was a number, but now you've replaced q with an operator. So how is this allowed?
Well, q is not an operator. Everything over here q is a number. There is no operator here.
Yes, sir, but you have replaced q with an operator, the functional differential operator.
Yes, that because you need to calculate this. Otherwise, you don't know how to calculate this thing. You have a q to the power of 4, right? Look at this step. So you have a q to the power of 4. So that tells you that this functional integral, this is q square, right? This has a q square, but this is q to the power of 4. And I have told you that you can only do Gaussian functional integrals just as you can do Gaussian integrals exactly. So only Gaussian functional integrals can be done exactly. But this term spoils that property, right? This functional integral is no longer a Gaussian functional integral, and that tells us that you cannot perform the functional integral exactly. So now you have to find out a scheme, a trick for calculating the integral. Obviously, you cannot do it exactly, so you have to do some kind of approximation. And what we do is, we assume that this coupling constant is very small, and once you assume the coupling constant is small, we have done in quantum mechanics perturbation theory that since this coupling constant parameter, this parameter is small, you can do perturbation theory, expand in a perturbation series. So what about this term? So this term is a problematic term, but you know that you cannot do it exactly, so you expand it in a perturbation series. You can expand this in a perturbation series as series in lambda, power series in lambda, but you have to do a trick. This q to the power of 4 is essentially nothing but a functional differentiation with respect to j. Okay, so I am not bringing in any operatorial character of q or anything. What I am saying is that this thing is effectively nothing but this is a functional differentiation over j, and therefore what you need to calculate is To calculate the generating functional, you need to functionally differentiate the free result, the result for the generating functional of the free quantum harmonic oscillator. You know that result, which is basically this. And what you need to do, you need to functionally differentiate this result with respect to the source J in order to get the generating functional for the anharmonic quantum harmonic oscillator. So this is the trick that you have to bring in order to calculate this generating functional. Otherwise, you cannot calculate it. Okay, so this is a very standard trick that you need to perform. Okay, but in this course, I shall not do this calculation now. Now, I have given you some hints. You can try at home. You can sit and try to do this calculation at least up to first order in lambda. Okay, in first order in lambda, you can see that this will be a very simple thing. The first term will be 1, the first term of the exponential series. The second term will be minus I lambda by 4 factorial by h bar integral this, right? So this is the second term up to first order in lambda. If you throw away the higher order terms, lambda square, lambda cube, if you throw them out, so the first term 1 will basically give us this term back. So that is the free result that you have. And next will be the correction due to this anharmonicity. Correction up to order lambda. And that correction you are able to see that in order to compute that correction, you have to calculate the functional derivative of this object 4 times, up to 4 times you have to do. Because this is a functional derivative of 4th order. So you have to carry out the differentiation, functional differentiation 4 times. Then only you will get the generating functional in the presence of the source up to order lambda. Once you have that result, now everything is done. Start computing the 1-point function, 2-point function, 3-point function, and so on. Is this clear? Is this scheme okay? Or
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
good. So this is another assignment that I leave to you. So I have given you 2 assignments today. So please try to do it yourself. The first assignment is basically very easy. This is a little bit non-trivial. Okay.
So for the second assignment,
Yes.
we just need to do for the first order in lambda, right, sir?
You need to do it for
First term in lambda. I mean lambda to the power 1 term.
Yes, I think if you do it for up to first order in lambda, it will be okay. But definitely you should try and see what you get up to second order in lambda also.
Okay, sir.
But that will be more complicated, obviously. That as you incorporate more and more orders in perturbation theory, the calculation will become very difficult.
Yes.
But at least up to first order in lambda, you should try and see what happens. The last thing that I want to do now is the following, because I will not have any more time, or maybe I don't know whether it is a good place to stop or take a couple of questions. I think it is a good place to stop here today and take a couple of questions. So if you have any questions today, because what I want to introduce is, I wanted to introduce a new functional, which is related to this generating functional in this form. I wanted to introduce this. This is called the Schwinger functional. This is the generating functional, and this is the Schwinger functional, which generates the connected Green's functions, connected endpoint functions. But what you mean by connected and disconnected, that will probably not be clear, because we are not really calculating the thing for anharmonic oscillator explicitly. If maybe you can just see, but I just want to introduce WJ. So forget about the terminology connected and disconnected for the time being, but I just want to remind you that there is another generating functional that you can have, and that is related to this thing, the to Z in this following way. And this is called the Schwinger functional in the presence of an external source. So this is what I wanted to introduce, and you can immediately see that if you take a log of this, this will give us I by h bar w j, and therefore w of j will be equal to minus I h bar log z. You will later on understand what is the importance of this Schwinger functional Wj. This is a very important thing in quantum field theory. You just, for the time being, just remember that it just as the generating functional generates the Green's functions, this generates the connected Green's functions. All the Green's functions which are connected. So this is the generator for connected Green's functions. So this is, I think, we just keep this thing in mind, and as when we do field theory, this will become more clear what it really is. For the time being, just remember that you can define another generating function, which is Wj. And this is, see, this Zj, you can already see, at least notationally, you can see that in statistical mechanics we use Z for partition function. So this is Z. Here also we use Z for generating functional. And in statistical mechanics we know that Z is related to the free energy by e to the power of minus beta f, right? F is the free energy of the theory of the thermodynamic system. And here also you have a similar relation, e to the power of I by h bar Wj. So if this is like the partition function, so this is like the free energy. I have not explicitly shown you the correspondence, but just some sort of idea you should have about this object. And what I shall do in the next class is see how we have defined a two-point function. So what is the two-point function in terms of W? So that also you can write down. So we shall just do work with this function a little bit for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then we shall go to a different thing. What I want to show in the next class is that I introduced the Feynman-Green's function in the previous lecture, and I told you that I shall compute the Feynman-Green's function explicitly in a subsequent lecture, and in the next lecture I shall calculate for you the Feynman-Green's function explicitly. So, but before that I shall start with this. I shall just show you something about this Schwinger functional, and then I shall start computing the Feynman-Green's function. Because the Feynman-Green's function is the important object that appears in the two-point function, right? So that is, we should have an explicit expression for the Feynman-Green's function. So I will take a couple of questions today. So if you have a couple of questions, then you may just ask at this moment, or else we can close this discussion today. Do you have any question?
Sir, the two-point function that gives the Feynman-Green's functions, it actually says that it is nothing but a propagator. The one-point function.
Yes.
But the 1-point function is 0. Is there any physical implication behind that?
No, as such, there is no physical implication behind it. It tells you, it tells us that your theory that you are working with is a Gaussian theory, and therefore so these are like moments, right? These are like moments. The endpoint
Yes.
functions, these are like moments in statistics. So it tells you the first moment is 0. All the odd moments are 0. For a Gaussian probability distribution, so these results are actually the same. You have the same results in statistical mechanics also, in statistics also. So you have a Gaussian probability distribution. If you have a Gaussian probability distribution function, then you can show that all the odd moments of this probability distribution function are 0.
Okay.
But all the even moments will survive. And here you see that these even moments have a physical meaning. The physical meaning is that the 2-point function, which is the simplest even endpoint function, this is basically the propagator of the theory. So you have a physical meaning attached to that moment. And what I ask you to do is, you check what is the 4th order moment. What is the 4th moment? Or in the language of statistics, in the language of what we are doing now here, what is the 4th endpoint function or the endpoint correlation function? So what is that object? Can you attach a physical meaning to it? So you just check it and see what you get. Okay, so if there are no more questions for today, so let us stop for today and we shall continue on Friday. Thank you very much.